All right, it was requested of a video of last night's homework, just going over how I got the answers. I posted my work, but obviously sometimes hearing the explanation is a little bit easier than reading it. So starting with number one, that was a counting tree, and we were flipping a coin. So the first flip has two options, either heads or tails. Now if we were to flip and get heads, the next flip is either going to be heads or tails. And if we had flipped tails, the next flip would be heads or tails. After we have done two flips, we have the third option, which could be heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails, or heads or tails. So heads, 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 tails, heads, tails, heads, heads, tails, tails, etc. Those are all the possible options, all the outcomes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 outcomes. Now the second one says, in how many different ways can we have two heads pop up? Well, head, head, tails, that's 1. Head, tail, heads, that's 2. Tail, head, head, that's 3. So there are 3 possible ways that we could get two heads. Part C was, what's the probability of getting two heads? So there's 8 possible, and there's 3 that we want. So that was the 3/8 or the 0.375. Now the next problem was asking about clothing. So let's say we have the pants, the shirt, the hats, the shoes, etc. Now the multiplication rule says that for the number of options you have, you just multiply them together. So that was just the 5 times 10 times 7 times 3. You multiply them all together, you get 1,050. The old school way could be like, all right, so I have pair of pants 1, pair of pants 2, etc. And you're actually matching them all up, but I don't want to do all of those pictures. So 1,050 was the answer for number 2A. Number 2B was saying, yesterday's outfit, you put it back in the closet. So there was exactly 1 pair of pants, 1 shirt, 1 hat, 1 pair of shoes that you wore. What's the possibility of you wearing that same exact combination 2 days in a row? And so there's exactly 1 way that you could have your outfit from yesterday out of the 1,050. Which came out to 0.00095, or just under 0.1% chance. Given that you have 1,050 outfits to wear the same exact outfit 2 days in a row, there's less than a 1% chance. Now for 3 and 4. 3 and 4 got a little tricky because that was introducing the permutations and combinations. The formula for permutations is saying the total number that we're picking divided by n minus r factorial. N is the total number, r is what we're selecting. So in the first, or rather number 3, I said that we were picking from 7, and we are picking 4 of them. So when I simplify, I get 7 factorial over 3 factorial, which is 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 3 times 2 times 1. Now what I notice is that 3 times 2 times 1 and 3 times 2 times 1 are the same number. They're both 6. 6 over 6 is just 1, so they cancel out. I'm left with 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, which gives me the answer of 840. Now the next one is the combination n comma r, which is n factorial over n minus r factorial. Ugh. Sorry about that. I'm trying to look at the screen and write at the same time. All right, r factorial. So we had 12 and we were picking 8. So 12 factorial over 12 minus 8 factorial times 8 factorial. So what that's going to give me is 12 times 11 times 10 times 9. Now the times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, I'm not even going to write because that's 8 factorial. I can just go ahead and cancel out the 8 factorial with all the other stuff. And then here I'm left with 4 factorial. Now 4 times 3 is 12, so I'm going to cancel out the 12. 2 and 10 simplify to being 5 and 1. So now my denominator is 1, my numerator is 5 times 11 times 9, which is 495. Your calculator should also be able to handle 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 divided by 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That would also give you your value. Hopefully that clarifies the questions on this. We're going to keep using permutations and combinations. Even though we are exhausting the section, we're going to do a couple days that just kind of work a little bit more. The homework tonight, that last problem, 27 or 28, depending if you're using the PDF or the text, is a little bit of a challenge problem because you're dealing with men and women. Now, I will give you a hint. That is going to be an and statement. That you want maybe 5 women and 2 men. So you might have to multiply the combinations together and have 2 different combinations. So for those that heard that, there's a little hint for you guys. For those that haven't, we will talk about it on Monday. Have a great weekend. Thank you for all your efforts, and I'll talk to you guys later.